Hey everybody, I'm Daniel the Dragon here at the Fire in the Hell 03 channel, and I'm back with our spooky, scary Halloween classic movie review. And frankly, you know what? I was happy with the first one. I'm glad I got a chance to watch Sleepaway Camp again because it was too long. So, moving on to our sequel in this 4-part epic month, we're going to have Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. That's right, folks. Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. See, one of the wonderful things about this movie is the fact that the iconic aspect, even though they've changed the artwork on the cover every now and then, the Freddy glove and the Jason mask, they've been a part of it for quite some time. And that's one of those things that it was something that got me to want to see the movie when we still had video stores around. That's right, kids. There were these places called video stores where you would go and you would rent movies. And you actually had to return them. They didn't stream. You didn't have everything at your fingertips like you do today. Be thankful. Unfortunately, there are some drawbacks with having access to these quick, high-paced horror movies that we have today. And this is where I can pose a contradiction, and this is going to come part of my review, because Sleepaway Camp 2 came out in 1988, and it actually is only a 79-minute running time. This is under 2 hours. You have a hard time finding movies that are under an hour and a half, and this one is under an hour and a half. So for something that most movies are between an hour and a half to 2 hours, this is a lot shorter. This is barely over an hour, and nowadays we get a lot of stuff streaming, and the quality is actually a lot less than what you get from Sleepaway Camp 2. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Unhappy Campers. Alright, now that we've gotten that little aspect out of the way, I want to tell you guys, this is not a promotional video. I am not being paid by anyone for this video, but I do want to say that Shout Factory does have the Sleepaway Camp DVDs available on Blu-ray, and Shout Factory has been putting out some amazing high-quality DVDs and Blu-rays, and I would actually suggest you guys go check them out, and you can subscribe, get their stuff, because I'll definitely tell you if something's not worth it or not, and this is worth it. I don't have them from Shout Factory, and I do want to get them, but right now I still have the Classic Collection. And to me, I love the look of the Classic Collection because it looks like a first aid kit. Now, with Sleepaway Camp 2, it really does continue the story, even though it doesn't have the actual same actors. For example, Felicia Rose played Angela in the first one. Well, we don't have Ricky in this one, but we do have another Angela, and it's played by Pamela Springsteen. It's Bruce Springsteen's sister. And starring along with Pamela Springsteen is Renee Estevez. The Estevez name you may know because she is related to Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, as well as also starring in some other movies. Well, not starring, but co-starring, where she did have an appearance in the movie Heathers, which I love. Now, we're going to get into the story, because this is the Sisters movie. So, the Sisters are famous people. So, congratulations, folks. If you've made it this far, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen this, I'm not going to keep doing this. This is the last time I'm going to give you a spoiler warning for doing classic movies, because at this point you should know. This movie starts off with a classic campfire story at Camp Rolling Hills. Definitely not our first Camp Arawak. We get Camp Rolling Hills. These kids are sitting around with a camp counselor, and they are being told scary stories. This is the venue that you would hear of pretty much any summer camp, and even in their own summer camp movies. That's why this can kind of be seen as a little cheesy, because it does fall into a lot of your typical tropes. One of which is, hey, we're going to start this off at a summer camp, so let's tell some scary stories. And we're already setting you up for what this is about to be. It's a horror movie. And it's urban legends, the stuff of, oh, they heard the scratching and getting killed, and yeah. So they start telling other stories about a fast food place that they found a fried rat in the food. But one and the only girl sitting around this campfire starts telling a story of the original sleepaway camp at Camp Arawak, where the kids were hatcheted to death. The camp director gets an arrow through the neck. So she starts hitting in all those points. So we know this is a continuation. It is part of the series, even though it takes a major jump. And the majority of the kids in this movie do not look like they belong at sleepaway camp. They look like they should be counselors, as opposed to the original, where it had more of that feel of these kids look like they were kid age, and you have the adults that looked adult age. Now we're at the late 80s where, yeah, everybody's going to be a teenager, because we're about to throw in some sex, we're going to throw in some violence, we're going to make sure we throw in some language, but most importantly, we're going to show boobs. That's right, folks, this movie has boobs. And they come pretty fast and loose at you. Sorry, I just needed a moment to reflect on that. Anyway, what happens is the girl starts telling the story of Camp Arawak and what happened. Her female counselor shows up and is telling her she needs to come back to the cabin. They get into a little argument, and we find out that the girl by the name of Phoebe has a problem with the fact that her counselor wants her to come back because she wasn't really doing anything wrong. And she tells her, screw you, Angela. You see where this is going already? Now, the girl walks off, Angela goes off in another direction, and the girl gets lost. So now the girl doesn't know what her direction is, she can't see properly. She starts calling out for Angela. Angela pops out from behind and hits her in the head with a log, knocking her out, possibly killing her, but it supposedly kills her, and this is really quick. And yeah, Angela starts in with her morality tale, because Angela has a very high morality level. And the higher she feels morality is being violated, yeah, you're more than likely getting killed. This girl, because she feels she's got a foul mouth and tells lies, she cuts out her tongue and leaves it behind as she leaves the body behind and walks away. And we go into our opening sequence, which is a pretty badass 80s like rock song. It's no one I know, but this is just really cool, and that's something I love about this movie, is it does have a really cool soundtrack. Where a lot of 80s movies really didn't have like a great soundtrack, this was pretty much more of an original soundtrack, and it was very in your face. And that to me is important, because that sets a hard tone of this movie. Now, I'm not going to kiss this movie's ass, because let's face it, first girl that gets killed just got hit in the head with a log. I don't think that was what killed her. I think what killed her was Angela cutting her tongue out, and you actually hear a pop when the tongue is cut off. And that was a little impressive, because that little subtlety of the pop, you wouldn't have expected that. Most movies would have neglected that. Even today, they neglect certain little aspects. That added a sense of authenticity, but getting hit in the head and knocked out, like the girl didn't even scream like that she was in pain as she's getting her tongue cut out. There was no fight, no nothing. She was out cold. You're in pain even if you're out cold. You may start to fidget and move. She didn't. Now we wake up the next morning. Girls' cabin. Well, Phoebe's gone, and the girls are starting to notice her stuff is gone. But we start off with one of two of our girls who we're going to be showing our titties off here, folks. And I said it. That's right, I said it. Go ahead, report me for terms of service. I don't care. It's a word. I'm not showing it to you. I'm not violating anything, so nah. No, so we have Allie is sleeping topless. We got one of the other girls checking her out, so Allie makes sure she acknowledges the fact that, what, you ever seen a pair of boobs before? God, I love this girl for just being so upfront about it and knowing that eventually you've already been nude in a horror movie. You're out of there. So Angela explains to the girls that she sent her home because she was doing things she shouldn't have been doing, and she makes a request for Allie to go and wear a shirt when she sleeps. Okay. Little disappointing, but we've already established that Angela's a bit of a prude. But then again, you got to change your clothes at some point, so. And they make sure that they show this with another girl, Mare, and they have her going topless. Ah, the joys of this movie. So, we find out that there's a couple of kids at the camp that are taking pictures of the girls while they're sleeping naked. They're just a couple of little pervs. Can't blame them at that point because, well, frankly, yeah, how do you blame them for this? They're young, they're looking, and these kids actually look like they're camp age and belong there. Now, we go from that to Angela telling the owner of the camp, John, that, yeah, I had to send the girl home. Making up stories that she was doing things that she really wasn't doing. So the owner of the camp's not really like he's upset about it, but at the same time he doesn't seem too upset that, okay, we sent this one girl home. Not even confirming that he did send her home. Oh well, mistake number one on his part. You're allowing a counselor to send people home, and they didn't even tell you about it first, and it happened in the middle of the night, and you have no knowledge of this till first thing in the morning. Warning signs, warning, warning, warning. Okay, we get to breakfast. This is typical camp stuff. People come in, they're sitting at a table, somebody says good morning, you get a whole bunch of people saying good morning. There's morning announcements, and we do get a morning announcement. Angela becomes the counselor of the week, and she invites a couple of the girls up to go and sing a song. So we got everybody joking around, laughing and stuff, and it's your typical scene. There's some joking around and a very weird little catchy song, and it's funny because it is Pamela Springsteen, Bruce Springsteen's sister, playing the guitar to sing the song. Yeah. With Renee Estevez standing right next to her, doing the happy camper hand motions and stuff, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, I gotta admit. From there, we go to the counselors letting people know where they're going, and yeah, we got people getting ready for the pool because they gotta go to swim. And a couple of the girls known as the Shoat Sisters, or the Shit Sisters, who like doing drugs and getting high. Now, since the Shoat Sisters like to get high, and they are now sitting there, and they're off in the woods smoking pot. I don't see anything wrong with that, but that's just me. You may have a different opinion on that. Well, the Shoat Sisters are discovered by Angela while we've got the other kids are all at the pool playing around. Allie is talking to one of the guys, and she seems to be a little jealous that Molly, Renee Estevez, is actually getting a little more attention from this one guy, Sean. So she takes off her bikini top underneath her white t-shirt, because we're about to get a wet t-shirt moment here, and she pretty much tells him, if you push me in the pool, I'll kill you. He throws her in the pool. So she comes up behind Sean and Molly, and hey, you got a nice view. And you get the two kids who were taking pictures. Hey, hey, Emilio, check out the party hats. What kind of language is this? I don't know. But, okay, so after we deal with that, now we've gotten another boob shot. Even though it was a wet t-shirt moment, still worth it in every respect if you ask me. We then proceed to go forward and, slows down the pace a little bit, but Angela's looking for the Schultz sisters the next day. There's no clue where they are, and they don't know where they are, so she comes and finds them. One of them's passed out, and the other one is like making out and like pretty much has another guy on top of her. Yeah, Angela chases the guy off and knocks the girl who's conscious out. And when the girl wakes up, she finds a charcoaled skeletal remains of her sister right in front of her. And they're on the pyre. They're ready. She's ready to be set on fire. And sorry about that, folks. Unfortunately, people like to get in touch with me at the worst times. Yeah, I almost want to have an Angela Baker moment at that point. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, the Schultz sister, who is still alive, looking at the skeletal remains of her sister. Angela has now started throwing fuel on the fire. She is dousing this girl in gasoline. She's ready to torture. And she tells her, don't do drugs, because you've been a bad influence on your sister, so this is what's happening to you. Wow, you gotta admit, like, that's a little bit of a harsh punishment for smoking pot. Oof. Okay, so, moving on. Alright, so now the Schultz sisters are gone, and we get a nighttime penny raid. Angela has now left the cabin, and she comes back to find all the guys are running amok in the cabin, stealing the girl's underwear. The girl's jumping on top. Mare is like attacking one of the guys, telling him to give her back her bras. So, yeah. Sean kind of defends the guys that they weren't really doing anything. Mistake, Sean. The girls decide that it's going to be time for payback. We're going to do it late in the middle of the night while Angela's asleep. And we're going to do a jockstrap raid. I've never heard of this, but you know what? I would not have complained if this would have happened when I was in camp. So the girls invade the boys' cabin. Even their counselor just doesn't care. He's just so tired. He's like, wake me when it's over. He goes back to sleep, and the girls they want their bras, they want their panties back. And Mare says, otherwise you're going to see a lot of this, and lifts up her top, and boobs! That's right, we got boobs again. So now we get boobs, and in the process of getting these boobs, Angela is right behind her. And the awesome soundtrack that's going on during this cuts right off. The girls are all, I guess, sent back to their cabin. Mare is in a car with Angela, and Angela's trying to give her a second chance to be more of herself, be more of an individual, and don't be like Allie. You don't have to be like Allie, because Allie's already the one that's been exposing her boobs that much. So, yeah. Mare is not too happy about it. She doesn't like the fact that Angela's calling her Mary, because she doesn't like the name. And presto changeo, rearrangeo. Yeah, she wants gone, and she doesn't care if Angela's going to send her home. So she thinks Angela's going to kill her, and she's like, what are you looking for? A gun? When Angela reaches in the back seat, Angela drills her to death. Literally with a hand drill. It's pretty effective if you think about it, but I would think it would be really messy, and Angela's going to be spending more than just the rest of the night cleaning this up, but we're going to overlook the aspect of, you know, she needs to now clean up this car. Alright, so she's gone. And it's arts and crafts time the next day. And, yeah, this little girl wants to go home. She's unhappy. She just wants to go home. And she tells Uncle John that, yeah, that we're sending this one home, so they're sending her home. John doesn't know she's already sent the Schultz sisters home, and Mare was sent home. She sent them home. She really didn't send anybody home, except this one girl who probably is the luckiest girl at this summer camp at this point. She actually went home and has avoided the wrath of Angela. Angela now is sending her home. She's getting a little disciplined for not telling John about it, but she's like, oh, well, like I just did? It's like, yeah. So a couple of guys decide they're going to scare Angela. So they're setting up their own machete and like Freddy glove during their arts and crafts time, because they figure, yeah, we're gonna scare Angela. And one of them says probably one of the weirdest things when you have all this blood and violence going on and language, and he says we're gonna scare the dookie out of her. Yeah. It's not like you were talking to an adult who may have been offended by this, so you chose this as your choice of language. I'm ashamed and embarrassed of you, but you're going to get what you deserve. Because Angela then finds out that these guys are going to try to scare her while she's on a camping trip with the girls in her cabin. The girls are off. Angela supposedly forgot her pillow. So we see the guys getting themselves set up. One guy's putting wet toilet paper on his face to make himself look like Freddy Krueger. Pretty ingenious if you actually think about it when you don't have the actual mask or the makeup effects to do it. And it kind of works. So they go off into the woods, and one of them can't find his glove, and the other one basically says he's going to go look at. He's like, I'm giving you a few minutes. You find it, or I'm going without you. Well, Angela found the glove and slit his throat. God, she's quick and effective, you gotta say. She knows how to kill. Not as funny as Freddy, not as violent as Jason, but she really has a knack for it. She's probably the underrated horror movie killer. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Well, Angela then pops up out of nowhere with a chainsaw, and she's going after. So we get Leatherface versus Jason in a sense. Yeah, that's not going to go too well. She basically destroys the machete and kills this kid with the chainsaw. Groovy. Hey, the chainsaw, I have to. She shows up at the campgrounds afterwards with the girls. Allie has disappeared. She finds out Allie supposedly went back to the cabin because she's got cramps. But all the girls are excited because, wow, Angela must have really scared these guys. Little do you know. Angela has now decided she's going back to the cabin. We find inside the cabin, however, Allie and the guy that threw her in the pool, they're messing around inside the bathroom of the cabin. And it's cool soundtrack, but it's all over the place. There's moaning and grunting, and you don't see anything, so it seems like they were starting to, and just it kind of fell apart a little bit. But yeah, so in this process, Angela then has now gone and interrupted the coitus, if you will. And yeah, that summer loving didn't happen, folks. At least not to our knowledge. Angela makes her go back, and yeah. Mare since Mare's gone, Allie is our boob queen. And you want to see more of her boobs. You know you do. It is. So, here we go. Allie is now kind of giving Molly some shit because Allie likes Sean, but Sean's not paying her any attention. Molly ends up talking to Angela, and Angela then sets up Allie. Allie shows up outside of a cabin, and yeah, Angela shoves her into a toilet, making sure that she embarrasses her and humiliates her before she does this, making sure she knows that there's shit in the toilet, but there's also leeches. And Allie, you're a shitty person, you've been a leech, And this is what you're getting. Shoves her into this toilet, which I think the hole was a little too small for Allie's body to fit in there, but damn it if they didn't get her in really easily. And as she's trying to come up, here goes Angela with that stick again, and she's shoving her down and drowns her in shit. Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye. But I did skip out on the fact that we did have a sex scene that did take place, which I have to say was probably one of the funniest sexually transmitted disease and wear a condom references that you could possibly get in this entire movie, because it is the 80s and the safe sex craze was becoming very prevalent at that point. And in horror movies, we need to teach a moral lesson. And since Angela's pretty good at morals, we get it after Allie is having sex with this other guy and she's riding him. We don't see him. We just kind of see his head, but she's riding him. You see her boobs. Boobs! So we get to see this, and after she's done, she rolls off of him, and as she's putting on her shirt, she asks, "You don't have AIDS or anything, do you?" This was a thought you should have had before you jumped them. And you should have thought about protection too. But I guess neither one of you is that very bright. But you've both had sex in a horror movie. So, next thing we know, bye-bye, Allie. And like I said, shoved in a toilet. From that point, it's a steady progression of Angela has now been killing people left and right, and yeah, Angela is just not in the right headspace for anything. No, she's in the right headspace for killing. We get our black girl, which I don't know her name, but she really wasn't a standout character. All she was just a lot of talk. Angela, she's telling Angela all the stuff she's discovered, because she tries calling Mary, she tries calling thieves. She was going to call the Schultz sisters. Angela cuts off her own guitar string and kills this girl with it. Trying to get rid of the body quickly, she tries to shove her through the bathroom window. But the other girl, who happens to be a tattletale in this cabin, finds her way in because Angela had already locked the door. Girl gets into the cabin. Dumb girl. You have now gone and gotten yourself in a situation that, yeah, Angela has no choice. She stabs her with a pair of scissors, kills her, because she would have told. Gets rid of those bodies. Molly comes back, and Angela has to tell her she sent all the other girls home. But it's okay, because it's still just the two of them. And we get a flashback sequence, so we're going to just eat up a little time of Angela's Happy Camper song, and here's a rundown of I've killed a bunch of these people, and maybe her conscience is kind of bothering her. So she does tell the head counselor, TC, and John what's happened, and they fire her. And Molly goes to her after finding out that she's been fired. Her and Sean try to make amends outside of this cabin where she's already burned the Schultz sisters. Well, Sean goes into the cabin, finds all these dead bodies, finds them, and they're propped up too. It's pretty disturbing how she has the bodies in sequence. She's got the Schultz sisters on the couch, sitting there with a Flotsam and Jetsam cover art, for an album there, and there's a lot of irony in these kills. And we did find out at one point during this movie that a lot of stuff had gone missing along with the bras and panties. TC's car battery went missing. Weird. Along with the drill. Well, yeah, Angela knocks both of them out, and she's not happy with Sean because Sean's dad's a cop and Sean won't stop. And he calls her Peter. And she's like, I've been Angela Johnson, revealing to us that she did have the surgeries. She's had psychological treatment. She is Angela Johnson. Kind of ironic since I'm assuming from the surgery, no longer has a Johnson. Bad joke, I know. I still liked it. Now, Sean won't stop. Angela cuts his head off. Molly wakes up, and there it is. Sean's head is in the TV. TC comes into the cabin, and Angela throws acid in his face from his car battery. Actually, I might be getting that out of order, but oh well. Yeah, we're playing fast and loose on this one because, yeah, this movie is pretty fast and loose when it comes to these kills because they start coming rapid fire. Angela is actually leaves the cabin and is coming back with another body while Molly is actually trying to escape. She unloosens her binding. She starts heading out. She trips Angela. She's running through the woods. They get into this weird little struggle where Angela actually cuts herself on her own knife and puts the bloody hand on Molly's face. It was kind of weird and awkward, and it didn't even seem like a fight you'd find on Jerry Springer. I think Jerry Springer would have had a better fight. I digress. Molly falls and Angela assumes that she's dead because it looks like she hits her head up against a rock, so she should be dead because Angela wasn't really that thorough and she actually liked Molly, and I don't think Molly was going to get killed. Angela takes care of one last counselor, which happens to be the female counselor, but as she's finding all of these dead bodies all over camp. Yeah, Angela kills her, but she's propping up these campers and counselors in positions where you'd be like, oh, okay. It would seem normal at first. And it's not normal. It would take a deranged mind to do this. Kudos. I have to applaud. That took a lot of effort. Come on. Jason, Freddy, the bodies go or they're left. They're not worried about cleanup. Her version of cleanup is I'm going to make it all look all natural. Or as natural as she can make it. That's pretty damn impressive if you ask me. So, Angela then comes across a woman who's giving her a ride. Angela's singing her Happy Camper song, and the woman's smoking. She's got a bit of a foul mouth. So Angela kills her as the train is passing. We find that Molly wakes up, and she's actually still alive. And you think, Molly's going to make it out of here. She gets to the road, and a car's pulling up, and it's Angela. The end. That's right, the movie ends there. So we don't know if Angela actually kills Molly or not, but you can assume that Molly's dead. And this is historic in and of itself, because this is the first time I can actually recall of a horror movie where the killer wins. The killer walks away successful, ladies and gentlemen. This does not happen until, I would say, the Saw movies, where the very first Saw movie, Jigsaw walks away clean. This is the first time that this has happened. This is a sequel of a horror movie, and the killer has actually killed everyone and is getting away with this. My God, the genius, the exquisiteness, the genius, the pure reverence. The killer getting away with it. Breathtaking. Now, this movie does possess something that we should be used to at this point, but back then, you didn't really stick around for the credits for movies. Masters of the Universe was probably the first movie I can really recall that you wanted to stay after the credits, because you got the Frank Langella popping up as Skeletor for the possible sequel that we never got. This time around, there is an after the credits sequence. And you do want to stay through that. This I'm going to leave because it's nothing major, but it always puts a smile on my face. But now let's talk about the movie. because I've given you the rundown of the movie, and here we go. This movie is truly a lot better than some of the more current things that we've gotten, so I have to give this movie its props, but there are some failings. The kills are quick. It is a short running time. There really isn't a lot of suspense to the movie. This is a quick slasher movie. Let's face it, a running time of 79 minutes. It really is only less than an hour and a half long. And to be less than an hour and a half long, you're not going to get that hardcore story. You're not going to be suspense driven in this. And you know what? It's a slasher. Angela is a slasher in the truest sense of the word, but she is also innovative, so I give her credit because she did come up with some interesting kills. That being said, I give this movie a recommend because it's not a must-see, because if you're not a horror movie fan, you're not going to want to jump out and see this movie. And you may feel it is really cheesy when you actually think about it. It is, because there is a lack of story. You get a minor story, but they wrap this thing up very quickly. It is cohesive, it is interesting, and it's not psychological so much as there is a small minor psychological element to it, but you have to give credit where credit is due. And for a sequel to a movie that you would never have thought this would have even gotten a sequel, this was worth watching. And if you can watch it with friends, it's probably a good riff track. It's definitely something I recommend watching. It's a good horror movie, especially during the month of October. Now, they did make a sequel to this movie, and that's what we're going to be getting to next time. But I want to know what your thoughts of this movie are. If you've seen it, let me know what you think of this movie. If you have not seen this movie, has this just made you want to check it out? Because this is me talking about it. I'm not showing you clips of the movie. I'm just talking. We're having a discussion here about it. And I want to know what you think about it. Is this something that sounds like it's interesting enough that you want to check it out? Is this a movie that, you know what, you've seen before, and now that you've heard about me talking about it, you kind of want to dust off the disc or break out the VHS tape and watch it again? The summer's over, and now that we're done with actual summer camp, this is a nice little nostalgia for anybody who misses summer camp days. And hey, I miss them. I miss the ghost stories around the campfire. I miss the camaraderie. I miss trying to scare the crap out of people. And Unhappy Campers is definitely a great sequel for Sleepaway Camp, and it truly is, because Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, these sons of bitches were unhappy by the time that they were done, because Angela was the only one walking away happy here. And she was still singing the Happy Camper song, so you gotta give her credit. She really was the only happy person there. So next time, we're gonna go with Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. This is another short one, folks, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you guys leave comments down below. I hope you like this video. Hit that like button. Yeah, I can't figure this out. But hit that like button, check out that subscribe button, and turn on the notifications, and you'll find out when my new movie reviews are out, so you don't miss one of these great classics or even something a little more current. But that being said, check out the links in the description down below. I will actually have links for some of my other movies. I'll leave a link for the previous movie so you can check out the original Sleepaway Camp review. On top of that, you can find my social media links, and you can follow me. And if you want, you can follow me on Twitter. That's actually the best way, because I will tweet out before I do a review, so you know what's coming if you want to watch the movie in advance, along with the fact that you can send me recommendations on Twitter. Follow me on Google+. You can follow me here on YouTube, and there is my Instagram account there is linked down below. So check me out, follow me, let me know what you guys think, and remember, take care, everybody. I'll see y'all next time.